Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. Niger's revenue dropped again as the federal, state and local governments shared 444.6 billion naira as revenue allocation for the month of July. The amount in the excess crude account now stands at $3.03 billion. Niger is Africa's largest economy and its top oil producer, but its public finances have suffered as the price of crude oil dropped around the world. The economic crisis has also worsened due to attacks on the country's pipelines by a militant group known as the Niger Delta Avengers. The attack by militants had driven oil production in Nigeria to around 700,000 barrels per day.
That is to be distributed to all the tiers of government, total 493 billion 828 million naira, which is 11% less than the figure that was distributed in the month of June, which was 559 billion naira. This decrease, about 11%, is mainly attributable to a reduction in the quantities of petroleum sold due to the activities of in the Niger Delta, activities of vandals in the Niger Delta. And this amount is net of the normal deductions for cost of collection, 7% by Nigerian Customs Service, 4% by Federal Inland Revenue, and 4% by DPR. It also includes a VAT figure, total VAT figure of 66.987 billion naira, and an exchange gain of 70 billion naira. There's also exchange differential which comes to 36.494 billion, and excess bank charges recovered 1.373 billion naira, all giving a total, as I mentioned earlier, of 493 billion 828 million total amount distributable from the Federation account. So in summary, that is the figure that has been reviewed and approved by the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee.
Members of advocacy group Bring Back Our Girls continue their march to Aso Villa in Abuja. The group, who were stopped by the police on Monday, had said they would march to the presidential villa every 72 hours until their demands are met by President Muhammad Buhari. Like on Monday, the group were also stopped from accessing the presidential villa by anti-riot policemen. Speaking outside the villa, Aisha Yusufu, a leader of the group, branded President Muhammad Buhari a failure for his inability to rescue the abducted Chibok girls, while another leader of the group, Obieze Kwesili, questioned the government's inability to rescue the schoolgirls. In April 2014, Boko Haram abducted 276 girls from a school in Chibok, Borno State. Until date, the girls are yet to be found. Factional chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Ali Modu Sheriff, says he would sue the Attorney General of Borno State and the state government for 10 billion naira for accusing him of being the mastermind of the deadly Boko Haram sect. Speaking through his spokesman in Abuja, he noted that the statement by the Attorney General of Borno State is reflective of the official position of the state government. Allegations of sponsoring or funding Boko Haram is nothing new to Ali Modu Sheriff, who was a former governor of Borno State. The PDP chairman has in the past denied being the founder or sponsor of Islamic sect Boko Haram, saying he would take legal actions on those who have leveled such accusations against him.
The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Borno State went to Port Harcourt, and unlike somebody who understands or knows the law, was shooting his mouth uncontrollably. He told the gathering of the NBA in Port Harcourt that Ali Modu Sheriff is the mastermind of Boko Haram and he should be arrested. But permit me at this point to state, and categorically too without any fear of contradiction, that it is either the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice does not know what he ought to have spoken about, and that was why he hijacked the conference of a noble profession like the Bar Association to cast aspersions on the personality of a statesman like Ali Sharif. And he is out for outright mischief, perhaps to further propagate the agenda of his boss. I have every cause to believe that what he said in Port Harcourt was a reflection of the official position of the Borno State government. Casting aspersions on the personality of Ali Sharif has become a pastime amongst Borno government officials. And this is not the first time they have made such allegations. But I think this last allegation, coming from somebody who is supposed to know the law, is going to be one allegation too many. Because Senator Ali Sharif has already initiated processes of slamming a 10 billion naira suit on the Attorney General and the Borno State government.
President Muhammad Buhari will attend the 6th Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Nairobi, Kenya. The event will last from August 27 till August 28, 2016. The summit will focus on promoting important economic transformation through diversification and industrialization. Ways of promoting a tough health system for quality life and social stability for shared prosperity will also be discussed at the summit. A statement from the President's office said, during the conference, President Buhari will participate in plenary sessions in alignment with African development. The President will also hold bilateral meetings with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Traditional rulers in Niger's restive Niger Delta region have listed some conditions it expects the Nigerian government to meet before dialogue can begin. The monarchs had met with government officials to discuss the attacks on pipelines in the Niger Delta region. Among the demands made by the rulers are a categorical statement on the opening of the Maritime University in Delta State, as well as the release of 10 school children reportedly arrested by the Nigerian army, the return of the golden sword, which is a symbol of authority in Baramatu community, and a halt of hostilities perpetrated by the Nigerian military in the Niger Delta region. Their statement comes days after a militant group in the region, the Niger Delta Avengers, agreed to a ceasefire and dialogue with the Nigerian government. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has asked the Nigerian government, Muhammad Buhari, to be more proactive in dealing with the problems of the Niger Delta region. Professor Soyinka, at a press conference in Lagos, said he believes the government is not doing enough in handling the tension in the Niger Delta region. The Nobel laureate said he was asking the federal government, like any other key player in Nigeria and the region, to change its government style and move swiftly to deal with the issues of the region. He is advocating a more proactive intervention by the president and his government to douse the tension. A Nigerian group, the Ijaw National Congress, has called for a suspension of all military actions in the Niger Delta region. The group, in a statement, urged the federal government to give a 30-day halt on actions in the Niger Delta. The Congress said, while it has spoken in favor of dialogue and the end of the destruction of oil facilities in the region, this could never be achieved if combat troops in the creeks of the Niger Delta still remain there. The group also commended the ceasefire by Niger Delta Avengers. The IYC also accused officials of the Buhari-led government of trying to tarnish the image of former President Goodluck Jonathan. The Nigerian Navy says there has been a drastic reduction in the frequency of sea piracy and robbery on the country's waterways since the launch of Operation Sari Teko to combat the menace. Nigerian Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, launched the operation back in April this year, with about 10 warships deployed, especially in the Niger Delta region. Now, Navy spokesman Commodore Chris Ezekobe says there has been a significant drop in the number of pirate attacks. The second phase of that operation has now been flagged off.
From June 2016 to December 2016, 2015 rather, from June 2015 to December 2015, there was a downturn in the reported cases of piracy. But from precisely February, there was an upsurge, February 2016, up until April, when the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, initiated Operation Sariteku, which was an operation to provide a green corridor for vessels transiting offshore Nigeria to be sure that pirates or sea robbers do not put to sea to molest innocent vessels transiting those waters. So what the Chief of the Naval Staff directed was for a green corridor spanning about 130 nautical miles to be created, and he created a task group which is headed by a commodore, and designated 6 organic ships to police this corridor. NNS Wamba is one of those ships within this corridor. Before the initiation of exercise Sariteku, from January to April, before it was initiated, we had about 39 cases of piracy. But for the first 90 days for which Sariteku ran, we had 2 cases, and one was a failed boarding attempt. So in the last 1 month, the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, has been back in Port Harcourt to flag off Operation Sariteku 2, which is to run for another 90 days. This attack on Vectis Osprey will be like the first incident we are recording in the second phase of Operation Sariteku. And also we are happy to report that it was foiled. The other thing I would want to use this medium to talk about is some investigations we've carried out recently reveal that some of the attacks are in collaboration with part of the ship's crew. So owners of vessels really need to profile the crew members they are recruiting, vet them, and if possible, carry out some vetting aftercare after a period of time. Because you can never be too sure, and a house divided against itself is a house that cannot stand. So we request that ship owners, profile their crew, and perhaps the registering agencies here in Nigeria also profile the ships that are being registered.
Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has said physical exercise through sporting activities is an essential training feature for military officials in the fight against terrorism and other security challenges in Nigeria. The Air Force Chief made this known during the closing ceremony of the Army Headquarters and Guards Brigade Garrison Sports Competition at the Agui-Runsi Cantonment in Abuja. The championship was organized to select athletes that will represent the Army Headquarters during the Nigerian Army Sports Festival holding in October 2016 in Abuja. Also present at the event, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukuburatai. He praised the cooperation between the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian Air Force.
This is a beginning or a restart of what we used to do before. It's unfortunate over the years, some of these basic, activities, were relegated. But today we are back. The Army is back as a professional force, and we are good in all spheres. And since we've started, I want to assure you that before the end of the year and by next year, we will get more laurels, and we'll be participating in the National Sports Festival coming up later in the year to see how we can up our activities in this regard. One of the principles of war is cooperation. So while we cooperate in the field, we also come down in our leisure time and in this sports environment, which is further cementing the relationship and to further get our troops physically fit for them to continue what they are doing in the field to fight any challenge or to address, to confront any challenge that we have in the theater or any other area within the country. So it's a cooperation which we cherish, and I appreciate the Chief of Air Staff for being here physically to be part of force, and we look forward to more of such cooperations, not only in the informal way, in the sports arena, but we'll continue to do that as we've been doing in the various theaters of operation.
The kind of challenges we face today requires personnel that have a sound mind and a sound body. So what we are having here is a demonstration of actually how healthy and how able our personnel are to deal with some of the challenges we are facing in Nigeria. What I'm saying is our being here is to share with the Army, and also the Army, like I said, for the challenges you need a sound mind in a sound body. And the only way you can achieve it is, yes, the challenges can go on, but routine activities should still continue without any difficulties. And that's exactly what the Army has demonstrated.
The Commissioner of Police in Enugu State, Emmanuel Ojukwu, has urged members of the Indiago Ataku community to remain calm days after an attack by suspected herdsmen. The incident, which occurred in the early hours of Thursday, left at least 3 people dead and 4 others critically injured. Among those killed, a Catholic seminarian identified as Lazarus Nwankwo. Earlier, Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi and members of his cabinet visited the community. The governor, who described the killings as unfortunate, condemned the act in its entirety and vowed to bring the perpetrators to book. Security agents have now been deployed to the area. Suspected herdsmen have killed hundreds of Nigerians in Benue, Kaduna, Enugu, and Plateau states. The Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) has accused the United States government of stoking ethnic and religious divisions in the country after the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry visited the Sultan of Sokoto and northern governors. Kerry traveled to Sokoto, where he met with the Sultan of the state, Said Abubakar. He is the head of Niger's Muslim community. He later met with President Muhammad Buhari before meeting governors of northern states. Now, in an interview with journalists, CAN said Kerry's visit was discriminatory, personal, and divisive. The group said Kerry should stop interfering in the internal affairs of Nigeria, alleging that the visit was aimed at promoting religious division. Garba Shehu, the spokesman to Nigeria's President Muhammad Buhari, says the president saw the arrest and prosecution of Joachim Iroko, a 41-year-old trader arrested by the police in Ogun State for naming his dog Buhari as, quote, a laughable incident. In a short reaction posted on his Twitter handle, Shehu said those criticizing the president for failing to act on the matter were ignorant of the type of person he was. Shehu's comment was the first time the Buhari-led administration would comment on the development which has grabbed the headlines for nearly 2 weeks and sparked debates about free speech. It also came a few hours after the accused man was released from jail. He had spent 3 days behind bars while his family sought funds for his bail. Factional chairman of Niger's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, Ali Modu Sheriff, has inaugurated a 5-man screening committee for the forthcoming Ondo State governorship primaries. Led by its chairman, Yunusa Ibrahim, the committee is saddled with the task of screening the candidates chosen by Sheriff for the primary slated for August 30th in Akure. The commissioning of the committee is likely to increase the leadership crisis within the PDP. Only this Monday, the McCarthy-led faction had nominated former Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice of Ondo State, Elitayo Jegede, as the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party.
Hereby received results from your states, and will also make sure that the day of your primaries, these result sheets are being authenticated by the state chairman that it is the one that came from the field. The rest, then we leave it for the delegates of Ondo to decide who they want as their governorship candidate. Our own is to wish you best luck to all of you. Anyone that emerges is one that me and the National Secretary will append our signature to take it to the INEC as our candidate. The exercise of screening will follow up today immediately after this exercise. I hereby inaugurate the committee.
We'll take a short break. Still to come, business and sports stories. Don't go away.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We're only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which came up with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. Nigeria's naira was quoted at an all-time low of 412 per dollar on the parallel market. Traders say the local currency fell due to increased demand for the dollar, which they say they are unable to match with the weak supply and the impact of the suspension of some commercial lenders from forex transactions by the CBN on Tuesday. The CBN suspended 9 banks from Apex transactions on Tuesday for failing to remit money owed to the government, but readmitted one of them on Thursday after it remitted the money. Traders say most of the bureau de change operators have their accounts with the banks suspended by the CBN, and this has reduced access to forex, causing the naira to tumble. The Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria has called on Nigerians to curb their desires for foreign goods. According to the body, this will help reduce the pressure on foreign exchange demand and its management by the regulator. President of the Institute, Segun Ajibola, told a gathering in Lagos that the nation needs to conserve its foreign exchange by looking inward and concentrating on locally made goods. He said this will help reflate the Nigerian economy, which is technically in recession.
Again, they must know that success is dependent on their mindset. It's your mindset, what you see in your mind that will actually make you grow. Do you see the big picture? The future you don't see, you can't picture in it.
If we're in a recessionary setting that we are talking about today, banks and bankers also can play some crucial roles in bringing back the economy. We know that majority of our people, they still rely on micro type of businesses. The magic is for us to diversify our foreign exchange earnings, sources of foreign exchange earnings, and to also reduce our over dependence on imported items. And if there is pressure on the little that is available, because we rely so much on the rest of the world to sustain our lifestyle, to keep soul and body together, then we are putting the authorities in charge in very difficult situations.
So, but when we get enough resources to empower people to buy, to meet their basic demands, the economy will begin to, move forward.
These aren't the best of times for local manufacturers in Nigeria. They are going through hectic means to get badly needed foreign exchange in order to import raw materials for their operations. The situation was even made worse by the CBN's ban of 41 items from accessing the official forex market. Now manufacturers say staying in business has become more than challenging. President of the Manufacturers Association of Niger, Frank Jacob, says beyond forex, manufacturers are also battling other challenges.
Infrastructure, basic infrastructure, power is one. Of recent, gas. And most of these manufacturing plants are driven by gas, are powered by gas. Today, most of our members don't have access to gas due to militancy in the country. They can access gas. And without gas, I know many big companies that today have temporarily shut down, hoping to reopen only when the gas becomes available again. We've taken this up with government, and something is being done. We are glad to hear that the Avengers have now agreed to dialogue with government. That's what we've been preaching all this while. I'm glad that that is happening today. So no sooner than later, all this problem of militancy will end, and then gas will begin to flow again, and members will continue to carry out their production. Aside from that, even the roads, the road network, most of our roads are subjected to loads with large vehicles. Items that should have been driven, should have been delivered using the rail system. Our rail system is not working effectively, so we end up using the roads, and those roads keep getting bad every time. Most of the roads network across this country today are in bad shape. And these are part of the challenges that we have. There are others. I can't read them out. There are so many others. If everything is right today, manufacturers should be able to make a significant contribution to the national GDP. Today, our contribution to GDP today is about 9–10%. But I believe we can make 20–25% if everything is right. And Nigerians begin to patronize made in Nigeria goods. Just like the present government is emphasizing our looking inwards, both in our production, in our consumption. We need to look inwards. If we look inwards, we patronize our own. And when we patronize our own, our economy will grow. If an economy grows, all these unemployed youths that don't have anything to do would have something to do. So I believe that the manufacturing sector has the capacity to turn the economy of this country around and make life better for Nigerians.
Dr. Jacobs, thank you very much.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has called on African leaders to invest in capacity building within the continent. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele made this known at a West African forum in Lagos State. He said capacity shortfalls remain a major challenge facing countries in their quest for sustainable development. Emefiele was represented by CBN's Deputy Governor, Sarah Alade.
At the inception, the capacity for macroeconomic debt and financial management in the member countries was awesomely weak in relation to the enormity of the development challenges facing them. This greatly limited the ability of the core economic management institutions to make projections, simulate the effects of external and internal shocks, formulate and monitor the impact of the policies, and make adjustments as and when necessary.
The sub-regional framework also makes it possible to develop a wider perspective among trainees through their exposure to other country experiences. In addition, the sub-regional approach is an appropriate one for achieving the desired balance between national relevance and international comparative experience, both in training activities and in fora for high-level policy dialogue.
In the area of visa requirements, you can travel across the region without visas. There is a movement of goods and services, although there are still some challenges. So there's progress. Now, ECOWAS has decided on a single-track approach. That by 2020, we must have a monetary or economic union. And so it now behoves the political leaders.
Oil prices fell on Friday after the Saudi energy minister strengthened expectations of strong market intervention by producers during talks next month. Brent crude oil prices were trading at $49.46 per barrel, while U.S. crude was down 10 cents at $47.23 per barrel. Members of the OPEC will meet on the sidelines of the International Energy Forum, which groups producers and consumers in Algeria, from September 26th till 28. Italy has declared a state of emergency in the regions worst hit by Wednesday's earthquake, as hopes of finding more survivors continue to fade. At least 268 people are now known to have died and 400 injured. Teams have continued to search the rubble of toppled buildings for a second night. The country's Prime Minister Matteo Renzi has pledged 50 million euros in funds for rebuilding of the cities. However, hundreds of aftershocks have hampered the efforts of the 5,000 rescuers. The death toll from an attack late on Thursday at a seaside restaurant in the Somali capital of Mogadishu has risen to 10. The attackers set off a car bomb at the Benadi restaurant at the city's Lido beach before engaging security forces in a fight for several hours. The casualties comprise of 6 civilians, 2 members of security forces, and 2 of the attackers. Meanwhile, Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility for the attack. The Nigerian Senate says it will probe Sports Minister Solomon Dalong and the Nigerian Olympics Committee following the country's woeful performance at the Rio Olympic Games. Team Nigeria was plagued by administrative and sporting mishaps in the build-up to the Games and even at the event itself. The football team was stuck in Atlanta, US for 5 days due to flight issues, while the whole team had to reappear at the opening ceremony in their tracksuits after their attires failed to arrive Rio on time. Now, in an interview with newsmen, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Sports, Obinna Oba, disclosed that the committee had decided to look into the problems that plagued Team Nigeria at the Games. Team Nigeria ended the Olympic Games with another disappointing showing as the country managed to secure only 1 medal throughout the Games. Former Barcelona player and manager Pep Guardiola is set to meet his old team this season. His Manchester City side were paired with the Spanish Giants in Group C of the 2016-2017 UEFA Champions League. This will be the 4th meeting between the coach and his former club after he met the Catalonia Giants at the 2014 Champions League semi-final. Arsenal faced a tough trip to Paris after they were paired with French champions Paris Saint-Germain in Group A of the group stage, while Real Madrid will face Dortmund in Group F and Bayern Munich will face Atletico Madrid in Group D. Meanwhile, the European Football Governing Body has announced the changes to the current Champions League format. The changes are expected to take effect from the 2018-2019 season. In the new format, clubs from England, Spain and Germany will no longer have 4th places playoffs, while Italian clubs will now have 4 teams compared to the 2 they now have. Brazilian police have charged U.S. Olympic swimmer Ryan Lochte with making a false statement about being robbed at gunpoint during the Rio Olympic Games. Lochte and 3 other swimmers had forcefully claimed that they were robbed at gunpoint in Rio, Brazil. Now, following those allegations, the Brazilian police discovered the quartet had lied about the incident. The Rio police have requested a court order to summon the Olympic champion to Brazil. The U.S. State Department has also confirmed that it was aware of the request to summon Lochte to Brazil. The crime faces a maximum penalty of 18 months in prison, and the 32-year-old can be tried in his absence. Well, that's all we have on News Now. We thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.